We're just going to jump in unprepared. Ladies and gentlemen, joining me on the line, as he does every Friday on the show, his name is Mike Reyes. I think he's got like half a day off today. But Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com is on the line right now. Hey, buddy.
Hey. Well, half a day when we're recording, but I'll be on full when we're probably going to air. Probably later in the shift, if not after my shift. But yeah.
Yeah.
I'm working. I'm doing things, pushing words.
Reading
about how Pierce Brosnan may not have been a fan of No Time to Die.
Oh, interesting. Boy, I was just talking about you and James Bond like 5 minutes ago.
Huh. I'm glad. I'm glad that my name has that association.
We're not going to go into the story because of things, but it had to do with the Alice Cooper side of that story. That's an open wound.
I still want that to happen.
I know. Anyways, people are like, what the what are they talking about? Anyways, Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com is on the line with me this week. If I recall our conversation from earlier this week, there's not a ton of movies. Andor did come out this week, which we can talk about that. Have you seen it yet?
I haven't gotten to watch it yet, and it's not because of lack of interest, because honestly, between the opening thoughts that people have had on the show and just the look of it, like in my heart, this already looks like something I'm going to really dig in the Star Wars universe. I don't think I've been this excited about it in quite some time. And Andor just looks, I mean, for those of you who don't know, Andor, I believe, starts off 5 years before Rogue One. And the whole plan is, I think, across 2 seasons. They're originally going to do more seasons, but then they trimmed it down to like 2 or like an abbreviated run. We're going to see Cassian Andor, played by Diego Luna, go from sort of jaded person without a cause to, one of the rebellion's best spies and assassins.
Okay. I haven't spent a lot of time with any of the trailers or anything for this. I know like the vague idea what it's about. All I know is
it looks so good.
I came in this morning and the first thing my boss said to me is like, "Did you watch Andor yet?" I'm like, "No, not yet." And he goes, I haven't either, but one of my buddies, he said it's absolutely fantastic. So I'm excited to see it. I know there's the first 3 episodes of it are out right now on Disney Plus. So it's probably something we'll get to this weekend. We'll probably maybe start it tonight. I don't know. We'll see. What's the show on Hulu, The Handmaid's Tale or Handmaid's Voyage or whatever the hell that is?
Handmaid's Tale, and congratulations for losing the female portion of our audience with your words.
My wife is a huge fan of it, and I can never remember. It's like Downtown Abbey to me.
Oh, nails on a chalkboard. Just stop.
But
please.
anyway, she was watching that last night, and I think I drive her nuts because she'll be watching. She's really into it. I'll be like, "Who's that? What's she mad about? What's going on there?"
Who's the lady? Who's the lady with that lady over there with the hood? Why is she wearing a hood?
Why is she handmaiding so much?
Brian, what is the tale of the handmaid?
What's the official title for it?
Tell me. The Handmaid's Tale.
Handmaid's Tale. Okay.
Based off of Margaret Atwood's legendary book of the same name, and which has also been sequelized with the book The Testament. Awesome.
Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com. So that's essentially why we didn't watch Andor last night, is because the Handmaid's Excursion was on, or whatever it's called. I'm really going to die on the way home tonight. Anyways.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to apologize for my co-host words. I may not be caught up on the show, but I understand that the show exists and know its name.
I'm sorry. It's just one of those things I always get. Like, what's the frozen pizza? Tostinos or Totinos? Tostinos. Okay, because I always get that name wrong too.
Tostino, yes.
But here's the thing: I think I'm from a different universe, and this is a Mandela effect for me. I think in the universe I come from, it's the Handmaid's Tale or whatever, and Totinos.
Okay, so out of the alternate titles you threw out there, The Handmaid's Voyage sounds like it would be something really cool. Like, I could just imagine in this world, like a group of handmaidens who've escaped, basically their voyage to safety, or maybe even like some sort of boat crossing. Like, that sounds like a sea epic.
I like
this universe.
I like the Handmaid Excursion.
Hulu, we're open. Hulu and Margaret Atwood, we are open to discussions to lending these IPs to you. They are patent pending at the moment, so they cannot be taken just yet. But we're good with handing these off.
Absolutely. Why not? What was the? You know what? I had.
B-sox is going to write any episodes.
Real quick, speaking of the Mandela Effect, I had an interesting theory about the Mandela Effect the other day.
Oh.
You know what the Mandela Effect is, right?
Yes, but you may have to explain a little bit for our audience, just in case. Some people may not be up on that.
Which I'm seriously shocked that no one's made a movie about it yet. But essentially, they did? What is it?
I think it's called The Mandela Effect, and last I saw it was on Prime Video.
Oh, well, like a big movie? Or anyways, that's neither here nor there. Mandela Effect is, it all kind of started with Nelson Mandela, and some people remember that he got out of jail and went on to be the president of South Africa, wasn't it? If I remember right.
I believe so.
They remember that, but there's other people that could have sworn and remember that he died in prison. So then people started noticing these other like little hiccups in the ether where it's like it's not the Berenstein Bears, it's actually the Berenstein Bears and just stuff like that. But anyways, my thing was, do you know when you're typing an email or a report or anything and you spell a word and you know it's correct, but it absolutely looks wrong? What if that's a Mandela effect? Like in your universe, it actually is spelled a different way.
I've actually had a story idea surrounding that sort of thing, like a whole world based off of misspellings.
Oh, really?
So I kind of, yeah. Oh, yeah.
If you were, and I know this is way off the...
like what... Yeah.
If you were going to because I was thinking about that. I was also thinking like when people, this is way off movie topic, but in the world of like, oh, we live in a simulation. You know what I noticed the other day, and it made me wonder if we're in a simulation? And this could be a story too. But have you ever noticed all the pairs of things?
Pairs.
Like you'll be driving along, and it's not just one stop sign, it's two stop signs. It's not just one trash bin, it's two. It's not just one mailbox, it's two mailboxes. Like just pairs of whatever. If you start looking around the world for pairs, you start noticing all these just random pairs everywhere.
Huh.
And I started thinking about it from like a computer generated world where you have certain aspects that you're putting into the game to create the world. And it'd be easy to just copy and paste two lawn chairs that are exactly the same and put them, side by side to take up a little bit more space and make it look more real. Did I blow your mind?
That is rather intriguing. You reminded me of The Matrix.
Just today when you're going to go drive around or do whatever, look, just see if you start noticing pairs of things, okay?
Yeah.
Or I could be completely insane. Who knows? Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com joining me on the line to talk about weird stuff. We're going to get back to movies. What is the big movie coming out this weekend, Mike?
Let's see. There's if I remember correctly, this isn't another week of like movie after movie after movie, but the big movie this week, the big one, ladies and gentlemen. I think you know what I'm going to say, so say it along with me. Don't worry, darling.
Okay, so when we were talking about this movie earlier this week,
which I have not seen yet, so we're just going to get that out of the way.
It has Harry. Tell me the cast. It was Harry Styles. Who else?
Harry Styles, Florence Pugh, Nick Kroll, Chris Pine, who looks absolutely unhinged in this movie, and that's probably the big reason I'm still waiting to see it. Olivia Wilde herself plays a role. Gemma Chan from Eternals and Captain Marvel. I think that's the big cast members. Kate Berlant, who's also a comedian that I'm a big fan of from things like I Think You Should Leave.
Anyways, with the cast in mind, you started telling me some of the stuff, and I didn't know about half the stuff you were telling me. But the backstory of this movie is almost more interesting than the movie itself. At least in my eyes.
It is a backstory that people keep saying they want to see the making of. They want to see the documentary or the fictionalized version, like The Offer fictionalized the making of The Godfather on Paramount Plus.
Yeah.
People want to see the Don't Worry, Darling story reenacted in that manner. And the basic pitch of the movie is there's this random like housing development / government project called the Victory Project out in the desert. And it's a whole bunch of, scientists and top men working on something. And a woman played by Florence Pugh, who happens to be, I think she's married to Harry Styles in the movie, or if not, they're going out, starts to unravel and maybe seeing the cracks in their supposedly perfect reality. But that story's kind of been overshadowed by poor reviews for the film itself, as well as all of the background gossip, which has ranged from Olivia Wilde allegedly getting into fights with Florence Pugh, which is why Florence isn't promoting the film as much. Harry Styles and Olivia Wilde's relationship sort of growing on that set, and everybody knows she split from Jason Sudeikis. She was served papers at CinemaCon. That became a debacle. And then even at the film's the Venice Film Festival premiere for the film, there were rumors that Harry Styles supposedly spit on Chris Pine. And then there's that infamous footage where Chris Pine is just like bored to tears at the press conference and is like, why am I here? Or at least looks like it. And I love those photos and everything.
Oh, it's so wonderful.
And yet we really haven't talked about the movie, but again, it's getting middling to poor reviews. I'm still very curious to see it, but I will admit just all of the publicity surrounding it has kind of dampened my spirits surrounding it. So, I mean, we'll see.
Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com joining me on the line. So we don't know anything about it. Well, we know basic ideas, but yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Like I told you, the off-screen stuff is almost more. I forgot all about her being served papers at that Comic-Con or that event, whatever it was. CinemaCon. Because I remember we talked about that.
Potential theater sponsorship. Oh yeah, we did. And folks, if you want to hear our thoughts about that, you should check the back catalog of episodes.
I could not tell you which one it was. So.
Well, I think CinemaCon was like the April-May timeframe. I'm just, guessing here, but we'll take a look and maybe put it in the show notes. I don't know. Point is, we got a lot of episodes, folks, and we would love for you to listen to them again and again and again and again.
Can you please do it so we can leave behind these lives of radio and writing and just do podcasting? That'd be cool.
I don't think I'd leave the writing, but I'd love to do more podcasting, to be honest.
There you go. Perfect. Let's do that. Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com joining me on the line. What else is out movie-wise this week?
Well, I will tell you something that I'm really curious to see how this plays this weekend. Avatar is re-released in theaters.
That's right.
From what it looks like, it is in 3D.
Okay.
Like, this is a massive 3D push for Avatar the first Avatar, which has been apparently gloriously remastered in 4K HDR. And from what I'm hearing, there's initial reports that state there is a post-credits edition where we get to see a scene from The Way of Water, the upcoming sequel, which will be out in December.
Okay.
So this is like Disney and 20th Century Studios' big push to sort of get Avatar back on the map with everyone, probably goose up the grosses a little bit and make it even more of a record holder, and basically get people jazzed to go back to the theater to see Way of Water in December, which this is the first major IMAX 3D release, like across the board, that I've seen in a while, because the company itself IMAX turned its back on 3D at a certain point.
Yeah.
And it's, you'll see some movies go to 3D, but it'll be like one or two showings a day, and that's it. And we missed out on stuff like Dune in IMAX 3D or No Time to Die in IMAX 3D that other foreign markets got.
What did you, going back to Avatar when it originally, because when did that come out?
2009.
Wow, that's a long time.
That's right, folks. We are 2 presidents removed from Avatar 1.
So going back to that one, just, 3D aside and, all this stuff, just the movie itself, what did you think about it when it came out?
I was okay with it when it came out.
Okay.
I was not won over by the story. I will admit that. I am one of the people that also said, wow, if you put Pocahontas, Dances with Wolves, and the Smurfs in a blender, this is what you get. When South Park agrees with that sentiment, you kind of just go with it.
Yeah.
But I will say that it was visually stunning, and seeing it, this was back when IMAX was still being shown in film for the most part. So this was like 3D IMAX. That image filled the screen, and I was enthralled with the world itself and how it looked.
Yeah.
It's just I wasn't totally on board with the story that it was telling. So
I remember.
we'll see.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. You're fine.
No, you go on.
I was just going to say, I remember really enjoying it, but it was one of those deals. I came out of it and I thought, wow, this looks crazy awesome, and I can't believe how stunning it looked. It was Dances with Wolves in Space to me, but I remember like really enjoying it. I guess the point I'm trying to get around to is, has it held up? Like in 2022, if you go back to that movie, does it hold, like the visual effects and all that? Yeah. It probably holds up, at least for the most part. But, everything else, is it as big of a movie as what it was in 2009?
Honestly, at the time we're recording right now, I have not seen the film yet. I am going to see it tomorrow in IMAX 3D for the re-release. But I also actually bought a copy because I have not seen the extended or special editions that they did in the post-release years.
Yeah.
So what I'm hoping to sort of watch it before I go and see, how well has it been remastered, and is 3D really an essential part to this story? But also I really want to see how it holds up. And I guess part of what works in the film's favor is it is using those classic tropes to tell a story versus, sometimes if you tell a story that's on the bleeding edge, it dates itself to a certain extent. But I think that's something that Avatar will have in its favor. And also the new film does look gorgeous.
We talked about it the one time with, I believe it was The Matrix, on how that was a colossal step forward in movie making, like some of the stuff they did. And I remember feeling the same way about Avatar and how they filmed some of the stuff. And you know what? Like, I think you were the one telling me about that he had to come up with a completely different way of filming in the water. And that's why it took so long, or something like that. And I feel like Avatar 2 is going to be one of those movies where it's a colossal step forward in how we do this,
Yeah. I mean, to your point, James Cameron developed underwater camera technologies. He had everybody trained so they could free dive underwater without tanks and do their performances. You've got stories of Kate Winslet walking from one end of the tank to the other underwater. So I think Sigourney Weaver said she had to learn parkour, or she had to learn some new skills for this. It's just amazing the stories that are coming out of the production itself. I really hope the movie lives up to the hype because I like James Cameron. I may not always be on board for what he's done, or especially with Avatar, but I can see how people enjoy it. I don't despise the film. I think it shouldn't exist. And again, it was spectacular to watch this unfold on a gigantic screen in 3D, and really good 3D too. Even the trailers for Way of Water have looked fantastic in 3D, and I can see why they've actually attached them to pretty much any movie that has that format.
Yeah.
And fingers crossed, I like 3D movies. So fingers crossed this is the revival that the format needs and gets.
There's a show that my kid watches, and it's basically Cameron going back and looking at the Titanic stuff and working on it. He really does care about the movies he makes. Almost like
he does. He gets obsessed with the stuff that he really wants to tackle.
And I think it's a little bit different than, you look at if you put him next to a George Lucas, the stuff that James Cameron goes back and tweaks, it's a tweak. George Lucas is hey, I'm going to just film a completely new scene for a movie that's 40 years old or something. That's the, and I get the technology thing is there, but I feel like James Cameron is one of those guys that, listen, he's going to stand by his work and he's going to go back and he's going to really care about what he put in it. And just the stuff that, just the thought that went into some of the Titanic stuff was pretty damn amazing.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this is a man that actually changed, because of Neil deGrasse Tyson, he changed the stars.
Yeah.
In one of the home video releases for Titanic to make sure that it was accurate. And he just digs in on whatever he's obsessed with. And honestly, Avatar is probably, I think he's even said Avatar might be the obsession that closes out his career, where he just sticks with this for as long as possible. He's even said he may not even direct all of the films because currently,
he's 68.
I think up to Avatar 5 is what's planned.
Avatar, on his
2 and 3 are film.
On his filmography, It has up to 2026 Avatar 4,
Yeah,
at least
because
according
right now,
to Wikipedia.
2 is obviously in the can. Wikipedia. 2 is obviously in the can. That's, I wouldn't be surprised if that's done and they might be doing test screenings. I think 3 is currently in post-production and they're editing it. 4, they're officially filming it. And this is all, I think these are the current statuses of everything, because I think he filmed most of 3, and then parts of 4 in one chunk, because there's like a time jump in 4 where the kids of Jake Sully and Neytiri get to grow up. And now 4 is like the one that's filming, 3 is the one that's being tweaked, 2 is the one that's ready to ship.
Yeah.
5 is probably written and just depends on how well 2 and 3 and 4 do. Because they're not, for a while, it looked like they weren't all greenlit. And he's like, we have to worry about how these movies do before we can officially greenlight all of them.
Real quick, I think it's one of the two, and I'm not sure which one. Either Titanic, The Final Word with James Cameron, or Titanic 20 Years Later. The kid watches.
Look, where can you find those?
What is it on? I think it's on Disney Plus, actually. Yeah, it is, because it's in National Geographic. So.
Oh yeah, and I wonder if they still have Ghosts of the Abyss, because that was, again, going back to IMAX and 3D. He made that movie in IMAX 3D about like going back down to the wreck.
Yeah.
In like the early aughts.
That's cool. What one of the scenes that really stuck out to me, and if I remember right, he actually felt kind of bad about it later on, was how he depicted some of the crew yelling at some of the people trying to get off the ship, because they were real people. It wasn't like he just made up some character. It was someone that was real on there. And he goes, it never hit me that, years later, it might be hurting someone's feelings or something like. I can't remember exactly how he said it, but you know what the other crazy thing about that was, that they accidentally discovered. You know how meticulous they were on recreating the sets or the actual ship on the inside, right?
Yeah.
So when they started flooding the grand staircase, they almost had some accidents on the set, because they did it all the same. They realize, okay, so let me go back real quick. When they go to the wreck, they see that the staircase is not there, right? And they thought, oh, well, maybe, it's probably just been underwater. The wood got eaten away. But they were like, no, we don't know if that's right. So when they were filming the scene when it's flooding and the water's filling up that area, the staircase actually broke away because it was wood. And they realized, oh my God, when the ship actually sank, that's what happened to the staircase, because it was, wood, and it was, strong. I think I want to say it was like oak or something, but it must have broke away and just acted exact same way and floated to the surface.
Huh.
So yeah, there's some kind of cool.
Just by making the movie, they basically discovered more Titanic history.
Yeah, exactly. So anyways, Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com joining me on the. Go ahead.
On the line. But very quickly, it's just like when Kip Thorne, he's a physicist that worked on Interstellar. Thanks to his consultancy, they found new ways of, I think, mapping or calculating black holes.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's amazing how getting obsessed with the details in some of these movies has helped history or science in their own ways.
Well, they were talking about, I remember them saying something about Interstellar, and they tried to make the black hole as accurate as possible in it. And when when they got that first picture of the black hole, it was pretty damn close. I mean, it was, it had all the makings of what was in the movie. So very cool stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.
No, it's really amazing.
I like how this week's episode is really not about movies. It's just gabbing for half an hour or whatever it's been.
Yeah, but there's not, there's one huge movie coming out and one big re-release.
Yeah.
Other that, most everything else is, a smaller film or on streaming. I mean, you've got On the Come Up on Paramount Plus, Catherine Called Birdie on Amazon Prime. Oh, no, in theaters and on Amazon Prime October 7th.
Okay.
Netflix has Lou. The Infernal Machine The Infernal Machine looked really interesting, because that's this indie that I think Paramount is releasing to theaters and VOD, where Guy Pearce plays an author that finds out people are like being commanded to do things by secret messages in his books, and he doesn't know that those messages are in there, so it kind of unravels him in the process.
That's kind of awesome.
It looks good. Like, if I see it, I'll report back, but it does look good.
All right. All right, well, let's end it there this week, Mike. You've got to get to your days off and stuff, and we appreciate you and all that. You have yourself a great weekend, okay, Mike?
You too, man. I appreciate you. And if you happen to go see Avatar or rent it again, because I believe they pulled it off at Disney Plus to, again, goose the box office, let's talk about it next week and discuss.
I can tell you right now, I'm not going to go see it. I've got over the next couple days, I've got 3 episodes of Andor. I've got She-Hulk. I've got Rick and Morty coming up. I've got I'll slog through House of the Dragon on Sunday night. And then Handmaid's Expedition is coming out as well.
We should probably talk about Andor.
Okay. Yeah, we can do it next week. I mean, we'll have 3 episodes to talk about. So
sounds good.
All right.
We'll have 4 because this week is a 3-episode premiere, and then next week is the next episode.
You and your math.
I know. Getting things right. Who does that?
Not us. We'll see you next time.
In this economy. Bye.
Da 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 da. Ding.
Whee!